On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 2011. We're going to be taking a look at Kenny Vaughan, and he's going to be performing Hot Like That. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, just quickly, a bit of background. You'll notice that Marty Stuart is on stage as well, because Kenny is part of Marty's backing band called the Fabulous Superlatives, and this song is from Kenny's album. So, this is why Marty's in the backing band to his normal backing band member, because it's all in support of the album that Kenny made. So, we will get into this. We'll watch it the whole way through. It's only 3 minutes and 4 seconds in length, so not a very long performance, but we'll watch it the whole way through and then we'll get into the analysis. Let's see how they get on.
Well, I met a little girl from West Virginia, pretty as a peach, charms of plenty. She's nice like that, nice like that, nice like that, nice like that. Lets me in on where it's at. She's nice like that. Well, we got a little place down Tennessee, keeps the home fires burning hot and waiting for me. She's good like that, good like that, good like that, good like that. Working in the garden in a little straw hat. She's good like that. Yeah, she's good looking. She's the one kicking it like Kim Kardashian. She's hot like that, hot like that, hot like that, hot like that. She'll blow the lid off the thermostat. She's hot like that. Oh yeah, she's hot. Lunch at midnight, breakfast at noon, tea for dinner, wine with the moon. She's crazy like that, crazy like that, crazy like that, crazy like that. Skinny as a rail but thinks she's fat. She's crazy like that. Oh, crazy. Oh, that's that Chris Crutch playing that stuff. I'll take another one there. Come on. Hey. Well, she can shake it, she can break it, she can hang it on the wall, throw it out the window, run out and catch a boat fall. She's fast like that, fast like that, fast like that, fast like that. A pitcher from the mound, run and smack her with the bat. She's fast like that. Thank y'all.
And there we have it. Something that I didn't mention in the intro was the location for this performance. You might see it in the background. They are playing at the Ernest Tubb record shop, and it does tie in nicely with a video that I did recently on the channel. In fact, it might be the last video that I did was the Ernest Tubb analysis video, and we also got into his career in the background a little bit as well. So make sure you check out that video if you get a chance. What I love about this performance is the fact that everyone's having such a great time, and it's so seemingly easy to play this. They're so relaxed, but it's just top level playing across the board, and we will get the guitar out in a second just to break down a few things. But when you have Marty Stuart in the background in your band, you know it's just going to be top level playing the whole way through. Some of the rhythm that's going on, you can see the way that Kenny is just using that wrist, it's so loose in order to get that rhythm in there. Marty throwing in some really cool rhythm in the background as well. This band is just full of musicians who can hold down a solo if you want them to, when it gets thrown over to Chris Scruggs on steel guitar. And yes, he is related to Earl Scruggs, that's his paternal grandfather. He just plays so coolly. He's got great vibrato, great control throughout the whole of his solos, but also throwing in really cool lead lines in the background. You can see the way that he's just adjusting his volume throughout the performance as well. In the very first section, he plays a little lead line in the verse, but then just takes a little bit of volume off in order to sit it a little bit better in that mix. He didn't want too much of the attention to be on his steel guitar playing. He wanted the vocal just to sit above that. So all these tiny adjustments that top professionals make all the time, just adjusting their own levels. So we are going to have a little look at the guitar going on here, just top level playing the whole way through. I don't really play country music or country style on the guitar, but I'll do my best to break down what's going on because there is so much. We're just going to start with the intro, and this isn't going to be an instructional video. I'm not going to be going through the whole thing, showing you it note for note, but we'll have a look at some of the key concepts.
Well, I met a little girl from West Virginia.
So even just this little intro run is so cool. We have this, by the way, we're going to be in G. G here, we're taking. Okay, we've got a little run up. And there's a little run at the end there. So all of these notes are just pieced together seamlessly, and it's going to be something that you'll notice with country music, a lot of 16th notes just following each other continuously, and they can go on for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, really long solos of 16th notes. So we've got that really subtle slide in there as well in the intro, where we slide down, but we're picking out each of those notes while we slide down. So the synchronization between left hand and right hand has to be spot on. Obviously, it's going to be more difficult depending on what frets you've got. I've got jumbo frets here, so not ideal for doing this. It is a bit of a mission. But when we have the... that's kind of the sound that you want to get. You want to be able to pick out those three notes. And then here, we're now getting a little bit more straightforward, but you can notice that I'm picking everything here, as is Kenny. So it's just top technique, and we go, and I think we're down to, there might be some open G's here, that kind of thing. And then a little bluesy slide there. It's actually sliding, you know, to our major chord here, but that's where that little slide is coming in. That kind of thing, and a little run coming down. So this is all in G, and you'll find that a lot of country runs you'll find in the key of G down here. You know, like that, and they're just kind of fill positions in G. That wasn't me playing country music, just the notes that you'll find that are used quite a lot in actually, here, we're going down to the B flat there, but also in that major key, you'll have that, you'll find that you go to that B. Kind of like that, and you can start throwing stuff in like that, which hammer-ons, pull-offs, but most of the stuff in country music is going to be alternate picked, so you need top technique in order to play it. So it means we've got like that, and we're then going to be into the rhythm, and I'll let this play on so we can see the rhythm hand of Kenny's here.
Pretty as a peach, charms a plenty, she's nice like that. Nice like
So you can see the amount of wrist that is in there, which means that we get that, really loose with that wrist in order to get that really cool, jumpy, swingy rhythm in there. And if you are wanting to play along with this, if you're playing your G, it looks like Kenny's actually playing the G with the little finger on the 4th fret of the G as well. Like that, he's got his little finger arched over. So don't let that put you off too much. You can just play it as a standard G here. And we've got this that kind of thing, and you can hear that I am hitting the strings and catching them in order to set up this groove and the kind of bounce that you want to be aiming for. When you're playing the rhythm, you can jump between the low E string and the A string, so we get this. And here, when I've moved over, now you'll see the way that Kenny is playing this 9th chord is by playing it with all 4 fingers. Like that, whereas I'm doing exactly the same thing, but I'm just squashing down my 3rd finger like that, and to get the movement down to the E string, we're playing A, and I'm moving my 2nd finger over to that G on the low E string, and you'll hear the bass doing that, but this is just something you can throw in if you just want to thicken it up a little bit, and if you haven't got the luxury of having 2 guitars and a steel guitar, and it's just 1 guitar, then you might want to start throwing in a little bit more to fill it out. But we have this, I'll slow it down a little bit. Kind of like that. And because of the nature of the rhythm, don't worry if some of the chord comes out. We don't want to have and not hear any of the chord. We want to have that kind of thing. You want to let a little bit of the chord out now and again. Kind of like that. So it means that we start with our G, over to the C9, G, D, and we loop around on the G. So we had the D9, and then we just went up. So D sharp, E flat, if you want to play that 9th chord, exactly the same shape that we've just played, and here it is tempting to put in a little turnaround, but that doesn't happen. They stay on the G, and there's a little run that comes in on the bass, and it's not played on the guitar. The guitars just stay straight with that rhythm, but stay on the G, and then we're back into the whole progression again. Like that. We're just going to jump into the solo to look at it very briefly, but Kenny just melts our faces. We'll have a little look at what he's getting up to. And there we have it. So I need to rewind it. Actually, he's got a little bit of crunch to the sound, a little tiny hint of distortion on there. So I might have to change my tone a little bit because I am really super clean here. I haven't got a hint of anything on the sound. But also right at the end there, we had this. And really cool ending with that final chord, which will be our G6, add 9 in there. So a really jazzy ending, but so well executed with the lead, just taking that lead all the way to the end of the song. But let's just jump into that again, have a look at what Kenny's doing on the fretboard, and I'll just try and point out a few of the techniques. I'm not going to be playing this note for note because I haven't worked it out, but we'll go through a few key concepts of what's going on here.
Like that.
So lots of 16th notes going on, as you would expect, but we've got this, which is alternate picking and the slides, getting up to our destination note, which would be the 10th fret here on our high E string, and then he goes into a crazy little rundown. I don't know what it is, but it's lots of 16th notes, we've got this little hammer on, I think it's semitone, and maybe even a that kind of thing, kind of like that. Okay, really cool little run there. We've got our okay, so we've got a little double pick on the 6th fret of our high E string, like that. It's really cool stuff. And again that. And we've got that, I think is more emphasizing that major rather than that minor, pentatonic, major, kind of like that. And then we move up. And again, that same. And then we're coming down for another run. Again, that. That kind of semitone approach, which you can start to implement in your pentatonic shape 1, in the minor pentatonic shape 1, if you want to. Because we're in G, your minor pentatonic shape will be here. Like that. So if you're taking these notes and just putting your second finger down, then you start getting that sound, which is a lot of what Kenny's doing here. He's throwing in a lot of these semitones and chromaticism, just throwing in. And playing a chromatic scale is when you play every single note. You don't skip over any notes or any frets when you're playing on guitar. There'll be a little jump over in order to keep it within our pentatonic shape. If I was just playing minor pentatonic notes in there, I'd have kind of like that, in that minor key. And what I'm doing, I'm just playing minor pentatonic notes here, but instead of going over to the B string and going, I'm just sliding up with my third finger and getting the other notes, instead of playing it lower down, I'm going, just finding those notes higher up. By not having that stretch in there just means it's going to be a lot easier to play these notes after one another, because you just place down your second finger as if you're in your normal shape. And you know, that kind of thing. So we've got a lot of that going on here. And we're now up. Again, alternate picking here. And really cool bend. Now in this minor pentatonic shape, just tweaking it to that minor. With the bend and the... We had a little run in there as well. Just descending run, really cool. Let me just play that. And once we've played that Can't remember that. We had a classic kind of Chuck Berry line there. The like that. It's all a little bit tighter up here. You'll find when you're playing lead guitar on, you know, 15th fret, 17th fret. You really have to squash those fingers in because we're still in G here. So it means that we have to kind of squash our fingers in. But let's listen to the next part. And there we do go, proper Chuck Berry with our, and that's, you know, unison bend, but with a mute in there, and slowing it down, he's doing a down and an upstroke on that B, kind of like that, in order to get that. I think he just mixes up between, and just exaggerates it a little bit. And there we have it, and that really cool ending to it as well. I think there's a little bit more bounce in those lead notes, kind of that kind of thing. Even though it's not exactly those notes, I don't think, but the as long as you stay around there, or you'll be able to find a little rundown there with those notes at your disposal. And the lead here, I love it when he gets higher up into that, because then we've got that classic vibrato in there, so much control. And I always say this about country players and players that are great at playing 16th notes, playing technically, alternate picking, bluegrass as well. They've always got all of the techniques. So even though they're playing 16th notes, they might be playing really fast. As soon as you want to hear a little bit of controlled vibrato, they can produce it. They've got all of the techniques, but they just dazzle you with them, or just dash them in there. They don't overdo it all the time. So when you hear all of these little techniques coming together, it's so cool to hear them, because they're not overdone. And that's a great thing about country music. You can hear so many cool runs that when I have heard lead players like playing that, you think, oh, that's just a cool line, having that double pick on the first note and pulling off to that open string. You get some really cool lines going on. But the thing that will fly under the radar is the level of ability that we've got on show here, because they make it look so easy. But even just playing the rhythm, that bounce from, and just jumping between that E string and A string, there's a hell of a lot of technique in that, especially when you start getting that bounce in there and the and just maintaining that, and that hitting the strings and catching them at the same time. Like I said, it's probably looking easy when you're watching this performance, but it is anything but. You just got to pick up a guitar and try and do it yourself, and you realize that, wow, there's a hell of a lot of technique in there, and that's before we even start touching upon the lead work going on. But thank you guys for suggesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!